Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. I'm going to continue with angels. I apologize for being so late. I couldn't get my act together today if my life depended on it. And interestingly enough, it is Good Friday, so the energies of Good Friday may have something to do with my inability to be cohesive. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'd like to continue on the with the same subject that I had last week, the angelic realm. Last week I covered angelic helpers, roles that angels play in our lives that we may not be familiar with. Today I'm going to go over the choirs of angels, the angels that have been identified. I think the choirs of angels are in the Bible. Um, Not sure, but angels are addressed in just about every single spiritual literature that is on the planet. They are covered. And the beauty with them is that they have certain functions. The functions that I'm going to go over are the ones that are listed in a book called Ask Your Angels by Timothy Wiley, Andrew Raymer, and Alma Daniel. Lovely book. Has 40 the first third of it is simply like a description of angelic intervention, and I'll have some of those at the end of this talk on times where I have been personally protected by angels, and but the functions are in their book are a little bit different than anything else I've read in other books. So I liked the functions that they gave, and so that's why I'm going to promote them. And she, the three of them got together and for a couple of years collaborated to bring this book forward. Ask Your Angels. The first third of it is simply a history and a guide. The last two thirds of it are exercises that you can do to increase your awareness. Ask Your Angels. All right. So the three, starting at the bottom of the layers, the three that are at the bottom are the angels, then comes the archangels, then come the principalities. And the angels are personal guides, and they increase our personal consciousness of us being spiritual beings having a human experience. Anything is possible for us. Remember that. Anything is possible. Then come the archangels. These are concerned with much greater responsibilities and endeavors. These are more specialized, these have specialized functions. I know the archangels that I work with commonly are Archangel Gabriel for communication, Archangel Raphael for healing, Archangel Michael or Michael for protection. I work with the sword and the shield of Saint Michael to protect me in every aspect of my being. Uh, Recently, I've had a couple of occasions where I felt that my energy was being drained, and by very, very, very needy clients. And unfortunately, sometimes those clients don't even know they're doing that. So, and I know that because I was late, um, probably no one is prepared to see this in person, but hopefully they'll find it afterwards. But the archangels are the ones that I have behind me: Archangel Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, and Uriel. And Uriel has a, s- a- a special function too of insight. That's the sense that I have with Uriel. In working with Archangel Gabriel, everything to do with communication. He was the archangel who announced to the Blessed Mother that she was to be the mother of a very special being who was to be known as Emmanuel. And obviously, uh, in according to the fundamentalist beliefs and the Christian beliefs, the Catholic Church, he was to be the savior of the world. I know from my instruction through A Course in Miracles that Christ is never identified as being the author of the words. He just calls himself your elder brother. And one of the passages, though, he talks about the message of my crucifixion was not to lay a guilt trip on anybody, but to make you understand as a race that it didn't matter how they mutilated my body, they couldn't kill me because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And with that, you've got to remember that we came from eternity, we live in eternity, and we go back to eternity. This part of our existence is where we don a spacesuit called our body to have the experiences of the third dimension. And it's a brilliant life if you make it. It's a hell on earth if you make it. It can be heaven on earth if you make it. So you come here to learn lessons, and hopefully you make it into something beautiful for yourself. But that's the archangels are there with the larger endeavors of your life. The principalities, they're engaged with larger groups and especially the multinational organizations. Principalities right now are working very, very, very hard on the internet to bring together a cohesive understanding of world events. And it's hard to hide anything because when you videotape something, you show people that you the reality of what happened. People can't put a spin on what happened. People can't uh deny what happened. It's out there, it's revealed to the whole world. The fact that people put different interpretations on what happened, obviously that's free will. So, and depends on the lens that you look through. If you look through the lens of corruption, if you look through the lens of hatred, if you look through the lens of rigidity, you're going to get obviously a different picture than if you look through the lens of kindness and generosity and loving and giving. So just know that, but can things be hidden? Not easily. There are still some things that they're attempting to hide, but slowly everything is coming to light. So the principalities are that, like I said, they're the ones who work with the largest groups, multinational organizations. Every single time one of our corporations goes global, and that's a principality is involved in that. The middle group, kind of mysterious. Never really can have had much to do with them or to say, but the powers, those are the names, the powers, they work with organized religion. And it's interesting that they're called the powers because in my lexicon, religion tries to maintain power over us, not power for us, not power with us, power over us. The virtues, they distribute massive divine energy throughout the planet. The virtues, I feel, are those that are involved with the points of our crown because every single thing that you do that is benevolent, every comes from a virtue, and every virtue is a point in your crown. It's a petal of the lotus, and it's a thousand petaled lotus flower. So every single time you witness a act of kindness or you perform an act of kindness, I feel, and that opens a point in your crown, I feel the virtues are involved in that. And it's absolutely lovely to see how many people are being considerate. I know myself daily, every single time I'm on the highway, I have to rely on people letting me merge. And they do. They stop. They flash their lights to let me know, enter, you know, and they slow down for me. So I'm just ever so grateful because I've taken to only driving during daylight hours. So that does restrict me. But nevertheless, I am still driving. And my doctors have told me that provided that my vision stays at least at 20/70, they can get me dispensation uh, for the DMV, a restricted access to a restricted license that would allow me to drive during daylight hours. And I absolutely am very, very grateful for that. But, you know, daylight in Virginia starts to dim at 3:30 in the winter. Uh, it does restrict me, but, you know, it's better than nothing. All right. Working with the thrones, going to the next level. Uh, oh, wait a minute. The dominions. That's the third part of the middle group. The dominions. They integrate spiritual and natural world. The dominions are those also, uh, in my lexicon, are involved with your the David kingdom. The David kingdom, I'll cover that next, um, is basically what keeps our planet from shattering, uh, from just from the poison leaching into every single facet of it. David Kingdom, again, you can only see it in the fifth dimension. So if you have fifth dimensional sight, you will be able to see the fairies, the elves, the gnomes, the trolls, the pixies, the brownies, the green man, mermaids, mermen, the the stuff that legends have been made out of. But they do exist. They exist on a higher dimension, fifth dimensional sight, fifth dimensional energy. That's where they are. So the dominions integrate the spiritual and the natural world, and so they are very, very busy recently because more people are recognizing every single time somebody takes it upon themselves to honor the earth and even to do something simple like recycle. That is, I feel, the angelic influence of the dominions because anything that we can do, I know in our case, we moved into this house 38 years ago. We spread poison on our lawn the first year we moved in. After that, we never have. Do I have weeds? You better believe I have weeds. Does it bother me? No, because the grass gets cut every week and weeds are green. So but there is no way that I'm going to continue spread poisons on my lawn to have this absolutely magnificent lawn, because all those poisons are going to leach off and go into the Chesapeake Bay, which is going to empty into the Atlantic Ocean. So just not going to do it. Okay, last three. The last three are the thrones, the cherubim, and the seraphim. The thrones are the companions to planets. So our solar system, each is guided by a throne. And this is many years ago when I went and I was still doing counted cross stitch, there was an example of an counted cross stitch angel that had the earth incorporated into her skirt. And for the most part, her skirt was in shades of purple. She was the most exquisite being, but I looked at it and I thought, oh, that might take me too many years to finish. So I passed. Um, I did finish a number of angels, never finished my last one because it was one that I was doing where I had to count off pieces of linen instead of having um, fabric where the holes were evident. And it just got too tiresome. So I never finished that. But the thrones, every single throne has a planet that they take care of. Obviously, there are billions of galaxies with trillions of planets. That's my understanding. So the thrones are, again, a very, very, very busy group. Um, the cherubim, they produce divine light from other stars. Cherubim, most people think of cherubs or the little putti, the little angels with the head and the two wings that are so prevalent in Italian masters' pictures. But the cherubim are very large, very serious um, group of angelic beings that, like I said, work with the light from other stars. I haven't had really much experience with the cherubims, but the last group, the seraphims, I have had experience with. The seraphims are the band of angels that surround the throne of God. And it's interesting how occasionally, not often, but occasionally, when I do a healing, I will see an angelic being come in, and it has all I see its face, and from it the throat, the wings come up down here in the upper, and from the throat the wings go down to the bottom, so that the wings are the whole body. All you see is face and wings, but the wings have 1,000 eyes in them. Then I know that's a seraphim. Those 1,000 eyes. And the eyes are something, again, I really don't know how to describe them. I don't focus on the eye. It's not like each eye is looking at me and boring a hole through me or anything like that. But there's kind of a loving tenderness, a loving kindness that comes through each eye. And it lends those eyes, the vision, the gaze, lend to the healing energies that I work with. Like I said, doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And let's see, the last thing. Okay, this came on the internet. I take it for what it is. I've never heard of these, but when I was doing research, it said there's a 10th group, a 10th choir of angels, and they're called the Omni angels, and they go by the number 1111. And I know 1111 trails me. I can't tell you how many times a week I will see those two numbers. And my own address is 10010. So the number of my home is 11. And so, but they call them the Omni angels. And they said that they are ma- m- managing humanity through the era that we have to go through now to get to ascension. Never heard of them in any other place, in any other book. Didn't find any type of reference to them, but you may, Omni angels. And I will read your comments after I finish this. I still haven't learned how to do an interactive, even though this is live. And somebody last time asked, can we ask questions at the end? I'm sure there's a way to do it. I just don't know how to do it. So I'm going to have to find somebody who can guide me to that place so that I could have questions to take live questions. Um, the last thing I wanted to end with is a couple of angelic interventions that I know I had. Uh, Probably would do well to leave that for another time, but I'm just going to go with one of them because this one was so dramatic that it just absolutely astonished me. It was when I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was visiting my family, and um, there were four of us there. Three of us were mothers, had two children apiece. One was single, and obviously no children. So there were four of us in the car. I was driving. And so before I left, my brother called out to me and he said, Alice, be careful. You've got a lot of moms in the car. And I assured him that I would be. So we went to a restaurant on, this is past 28th Street in Michigan, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And on the way home, I took I merged from the main drag onto the highway. But as I'm trying to merge, there is a semi tractor trailer, an enormous tractor trailer to my left, and the merge lane to my right. And it's like a brick wall. It's like a tall wall. I have no place to go. And so I just keep going and going and going and going until finally the tractor trailer, which was keeping pace with me, and for whatever reason, if I slowed down, it slowed down. If I sped up, it sped up. So I couldn't get behind it. I couldn't get ahead of it. And so finally, it seemed like forever that it finally, shot up ahead, and I was able to merge into the highway. The next day, my husband and I took that same entrance. I don't know what we were doing, but we were out past 28th Street. We were doing a little shopping, and we took that same entrance. And the merge lane was about the length, maybe of 20 feet, was very, very short. Where when I was on it the previous day, it felt like it was half a mile. I'm sure it wasn't, but it felt like it. So I just couldn't get over the fact that This was angelic intervention. That merge lane and that, incident with the tractor trailer just, I think was given to me. T It stayed in my memory, and I just know that, I was prevented from, any kind of crash through the angels, altering reality. And since then, anytime I have mentioned this, I have met people who also have stories of, like, the one gal recently, she said her husband was riding a motorcycle and the motorcycle was mangled under the tires of a truck, and yet he didn't have a scratch on him, and he was lying next to the motorcycle. So, how do you get a mangled motorcycle and a person that was on that motorcycle without any evidence of any uh, thing hurt? So, it was, again, just miraculous. And I know I work with the angels every single day. My house is filled with them. I don't think there's a room in this house that doesn't have an angel in it. And my entrance foyer has a large, um, oh gosh, kind of like a glass case that is filled with both the fairies as well as the angels and a few statues of the Blessed Mother, but small ones at that. So anyway, just know they're there. They're there for you. Feel free to call on them, make them your allies, make them your friends, because they will be there for you all the time if you allow them to. They're not going to ever, ever, ever encroach on your free will. We have free will. We are the only one of God's creations that can say no to God. And we don't do God's bidding under any circumstance are we forced to do anything, but we are nudged to do it. So pay attention to the nudges. And I thank you for being here. I know it's Good Friday, but and I know I was a couple hours late in arriving on this, but I'm just so grateful to have your presence. And maybe by next week I'll talk to somebody or I'll figure out how I can have a live chat at the end. So everybody have a happy Easter, and if you're on spring break, wonderful. Thank you again. So.